Hi, welcome to our third session of our hangout. We're here with a few of the ladies talking about marriage matters and how to become one. Before we get started, um, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things of this month, which is my Ujamma Box, which you can see here. It's a monthly subscription that sends out different Black-owned businesses, different products from Black-owned businesses, and so far every month has been excellent. This month is one of my favorites. I mean, last month was my favorite, and the month before that's always my favorite. So each month, actually, they become my favorite. But this month was awesome. I got some nail polish from 1143 H2O nail polish. It's eco-friendly vegan nail polish. I got a set of waist beads from a brand called Lush Vices, and it's the good kind with the clamp on the end, so they're very safe. They're not going to fall off. It's a really cute color. And the third thing is from a brand called the Pretty Bull. So it's a ring that can also be used as a hair adornment for your faux locks, for those who are wearing them, and that kind of thing. But it's a really good subscription. They give discounts in the box. And most of all these brands are on social media, and they work with other Black-owned businesses to kind of support each other. And so this month, I'm featuring them, and I love them. They're a really good brand, and their purpose is awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get started on today's topic, which is becoming one. This to me is like one of those topics where you kind of really need some older people around. And so, from my perspective, some things that I feel like I've learned over the past few years of being married is I think maybe last year I started to feel, once I started thinking about something really, really hard, Adam would turn around and be like, oh, this is what I think, and it would be the same exact thing that I was thinking. But it only happened when we hadn't been arguing for a long time, when we were both happy, we were both in a good place. Like, it took really a lot to really kind of, what I feel like is come on the same page. And so I think over the past few months, since we've been kind of apart, since he's traveling and I'm here, we still kind of are on the same page, but it's hard when there's a huge distance. But sometimes when we're together, I feel like there's so much energy between us, and not always negative or positive, but just so much going on. We're going left and right, that we sometimes can't be on the same page, right? So, and it kind of ties into a little bit of what we talked about last week, was like that whole spirituality piece. Like, how do we become this same energy force to where we're like super powerful? It's not just, me doing my thing and you doing your thing and we're looking great together, but like me making sure you're doing it to the best of your ability and you making sure I do it to the best of my ability. So, kind of really posing the question, how do you feel like you get on the same page with your significant other when it comes to something like decorations or buying something new or, buying a new home? Like, because everybody wants something different, like when I bought a house, I did not want to live in Oxon Hill. I didn't want this, I didn't want that, and then of course the home we ended up buying was in Oxon Hill. Like, I had my mindset on living in Upper Marlboro. That's where I wanted to be because that's where all my friends were, but we couldn't afford the taxes. So, but then it's like, how did you become this force where you're like, okay, I'm right on this topic, but I'm not right on this, like this whole push and pull. So, Kia, you want to start or share your thoughts?
I think, so we've been married now almost 8 months, and I think it's about compromise. I think we're still learning each other. It's really different. Like I said, I've known my husband for 12 years. We've been together for almost 4, but being married for this 8-month period, it's so different. As I shared before, I was married previously, and it's a compromise, but it's making sure that we aren't losing ourselves in the compromise and that we're both learning each other and what I can give on and what he can give on is what we are really doing lately. I know we had a period recently where we were, just arguing, couldn't really get any issues settled, and then of course we took it back. We went to the altar at church. We talked about it. We talked to some of our, kind of like our marriage counselors in a sense, other couples that we look up to, just to figure out what to do. And it was compromise. It was talking about your problems and figuring out what I can give and what he could give. And so we really been focusing on that specifically lately, and it's much better. Like, I'll give you case in point. Ernest, you know how I feel about my son and his clothes. And I don't let my husband pick out a thing, including socks and underwear, because it has to match. And a small compromise, I mean, to some people was me allowing him to pick out, my son's clothes for 2 days out of the school week. And I've been doing that, and I say nothing to him. I let him go to school with whatever my husband chooses, but, just letting him, be able to make the decision and me giving up something because it's not really that important. I mean, it's important to me, but not to the point where we argue about something so simple as what the boy wears.
Oh, yes. Okay, so Kira, what are your thoughts on this topic?
I agree with Kia, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That compromise is super, super important. And I think Jeremy and I, we are not quite there yet, where we know when to compromise and when to push, when to pull, when to really stand our ground. I think I'm really lucky in that, I have for the most part, until he doesn't, I have a very, very easygoing partner. When it comes to the big things, he's willing to, he deferred a lot to me, when, choosing our home and, decorating our wedding and, all of those things. It's just kind of the little things that, you said what?
I said all of the fun stuff that costs a lot of money.
I know, right? Yeah, he'll defer to me because he doesn't really have a strong opinion either way. But a lot of the little things, like he really latches on to some things, and I think for me, I'll say he's petty. So, so when it comes to
you're not gonna call my man petty. You're not
petty
gonna call my man petty.
And, I've noticed that, in response, I'm like Petty LaBelle. So I'm like, wait a minute, because you're not going to, like, walk. I feel like a lot of times I'll stick my heels in because I don't want to seem like I'm being walked all over with the little things. Because, I feel like the little things, when you're always the one giving in to those, like, it wears on you. So, every once in a while, I'm just like, it's a blow up because I feel like, it's the little things that are getting to me. And just adding up and building up. So I need to learn when to compromise on the little things, and he needs to learn how to not focus on the little things sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny that you say that, like the little things. I think, I'm that person who probably gets my way a lot, and then Adam will dig his heels in on something, and I'll be like, well, it's not even that serious, though. Like, why is it the one thing that's taking you over? And it's kind of just, he's gotten to the point where it's just like, nah, I'm not going to let you do this to me. And I think that was what it was in the beginning. Oh, my goodness. Like, I talked to you about how we had a party at our house every weekend when I had the baby, and I was in school, and I was just like, I can't. And he was just like, nah, I'm not going to get his stuff. Like, we can't take it. We can't afford this anymore.
Yeah.
We can't afford to feed the world that. So, awesome. Okay. So, Nicole, how do you guys kind of, I guess the concept is compromise. Like, how do you guys kind of push and pull on the big things or the little things?
We don't. We're horrible at compromising, I will absolutely admit. And it's probably more so because I'm more stubborn, bullheaded, and things just have to be Nicole's way, if I'm honest with myself. He's kind of like more laid back and, majority of the time just lets me go ahead and be like, whatever, have your way. But we're not very good at compromising at all. It's something we need to work on, but we haven't even really begun to touch the surface of compromise. And I think the other part of it for me is he's like, all the Bible says you submit to your husband and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I get you.
Nah.
But time out. Time out.
That is
You're not my husband yet. You're not even my husband yet.
That was my line for a long time, girl. But you not even my husband.
I'm like, so even if the Bible did say that, I can't submit and just fully trust. And I had to call one of my older friends, a mentor, and she actually has a relationship like counseling business, and she's also real Bible verse and stuff. So I called and was talking to her, and she was like, "Girl, don't listen to that man. Don't listen to that man." And I and I was asking her, what the Bible was actually saying, and she was just like telling me in a roundabout way that once you become married and you guys become one, then you as the woman entrust certain decisions, to your husband because he's the leader of your household. And that's what the Bible is talking about. I don't mean submit and just let him do stupid stuff. Like that's not that's not what you're supposed to do. So I haven't gotten to that point where it's like I feel like I trust all his decisions, so I'm always up in the mix. And I will not compromise.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing is learning, what's important. Like kind of like Kira was saying, like, is this really important to me? Like kind of questioning, like, is this important to me? Because there's some things that I think I make internal decisions on, and I'm kind of like, this isn't really important to me, but this is what I think it should be. And then when I express that, I think sometimes when I express things in a way where it's like, this is what I think, but this is not the final say, it's accepted a lot easier than me saying, this is what we're going to do. This is what I feel. I don't really care about how you feel. But sometimes when I come to it like, this is what I think. I think we should do these things. What do you think? And usually he's going to be like, yeah, that's a great idea. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit harder for them to come up with that, like, comeback.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like if they're in defense mode, all of a sudden they have all the comeback in the world. Kind of approach it in like a softer approach, like, I think we should just, do it this way, do it that way, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, that does sound like a good idea, right? Like just kind of soften it up. And I think that's what I've struggled with, being soft, because I'm very like, I am rough. Like I'm just like, get up, let's go, do what we got to do, make this bed. I don't care, just
right. I'm the same way,
Sergeant. And he'd be like, I'm not your child. He always be like, I'm not your child. And I was like, well, I'm not your mother, so get up. And, it's like always this push. But I've noticed that once I started to soften up and really, and maybe that's what it means to submit, I don't know, not change who you are, but kind of just be strategic about how you approach things with them, because at the end of the day, if you make your idea sound like their idea, they're more than likely going to be on board. I think that's something someone told, my aunt told me a long time ago, but I couldn't fully accept it because I was like, no, that's not your idea. It's my idea. I came up with this. This is my hard work. And now you need to just listen to me, right? And so, but it doesn't work like that. So you'll get tired of the fighting and the arguing and the pushing and the pulling. And sometimes it's easier just to ask their idea first and then let them kind of listen to how crazy it sounds and then reel them back in and be like, well, I think that sounds good, but maybe we can kind of change it that way. I think that helps a little bit, because sometimes when you come out with your idea, they're trying to come up with a better idea, which is just, it doesn't make sense. And sometimes people just don't understand, things don't make sense. So kind of moving in from that topic, when it comes to, discussions that really become intense, how do you guys kind of end it? Where it's like, okay, it's reached this boiling point. Let's pull back, stop, and think. Because I've said a lot of things that are not very nice that you can't take back. I try not to do that anymore. But in the beginning, my tongue was bad. And I know biblically that's not right for all the Christians, but I used to be like, it just would come out very nasty, and I would say things. I remember one time I said, I hate you. And he was like, you hate me? And I didn't think that would make him blow up, but it was just like, he was like, you hate me? You hate me? I was like, it's not funny, Karen, because then I'm not even going to tell y'all what I did, because I can't put that on camera, but I have to tell y'all offline about how crazy I became one time. And I was just talking about this the other day. Somebody was asking me about something about my husband cheating on me. I was like, girl, you know I'm crazy. Like, y'all didn't know how crazy I was. And we hadn't even gotten that far yet, so please don't do that. So, I've learned to hold my tongue. So how do you guys kind of, once things start to escalate to that, like, I'm about to talk about your mama, like, I'm about to make your feelings hurt, like, I'm about to talk about your feet, like, how do you reel it back into, like, you know what, maybe this is not the time, maybe we can kind of talk about this later. Go ahead, Nicole. How do you kind of slow down? Oh, wait, you go ahead.
Okay, I'm off. So I'm much like you. I'm bad. I am. I'm bad. And it doesn't make it any better that he's bad too. So, just as much as I scream and name call, he screams and name calls too.
Yeah.
But I will say that in the past month or so, month and a half or so, I guess I don't even want to say we're really working at it. It just started happening as we started making better decisions for our relationship. We just started getting better at talking through things. Like even when things escalate, it hasn't gotten to the point where we've called each other a bad name or, said something that we regret saying. We've kind of just trying to transition through it. And then even beyond it, because sometimes we'll have arguments and they may not be blow-ups, but then we'll just stop speaking. And I mean, I'm stubborn as a bull, and I can go days without, saying anything but hi and bye. Like, I don't...
You talking to me?
Right. And I do just say hi and bye out of just complete respect because that's what my mama always told me. But I mean, we've even gotten to the point where we're speaking, we're laughing again after an argument. So I don't know how we got there. It was just a conscious decision we both made because we saw the arguments were escalating too far. We was going to be throwing fists next. I mean, what?
People don't understand. When you stuck in that house and you don't know where to go, baby,
I'm serious.
I don't understand. When Kira gave me them keys to her house, that's when I was like, I got somewhere to go.
And I say that because like he knows like certain names irk me. Like, don't call me a bitch. I may be a bitch, but you don't call me none. Don't do that.
I'm not even gonna call you.
And that word right there flies out of his mouth. I see red. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so if we're beyond the points of words, the next thing is coming is my fist because I just feel disrespected. Yeah. And I grew up with all boys, so I'm not scared to fight nobody's man.
She got hands.
The sun came out, right? I have learned to refrain from the curse words. Hold on. Okay. All right, Kira, go ahead.
So I think I've shared on Marriage Matters before that I'm not really a yeller. So when our discussions or arguments escalate, it looks like probably a scene out of the Twilight Zone because I'm talking low, I'm talking a lot. It's probably getting like meaner and nastier by the second. Like I guess I would be like a cold killer because it's just it's almost like I won't say out of body. So it's really, really hard for me to like bring it down. And even like I have this, my husband's not a huge communicator, like he's not a huge talker, especially in times of like dissension. So he'll have, these moments where he's just staring at me wide-eyed, just keeping his eyes open, like, because he's scared I'm going to do something. And I'm just like talking. And I'm like, respond to me. So that's kind of my, that will just take me even to a place, to another place when he doesn't respond to me when I'm trying to engage him in this discussion or conversation. So how I bring myself down is I usually like talk myself until I can't talk anymore. And I'm talking to him, but he's probably not listening. So I'm really talking more for me than him. And, I'll just talk until I can't anymore. And then I'll just, end it abruptly and then come back in a few minutes. And another thing, like talk. It's like kind of the running joke with my friends. I'm always like, yeah, and then I went back in there and I told him, and then I went back and, a couple rounds of that, and then finally he might respond. And, it's like, that's all I need. Like, just engage with me so that we can wrap this up. Let me know that you've heard me. Let me know that you're listening. And it's usually only then when he does that can I, start breathing normally again.
Kira was like, I can't take this. I can't be up all night.
No, seriously.
He sleep.
My throat dry. I'm dehydrated.
You sleep? You sleep. I know you got to sleep because we still arguing. He's like, I got to go to work in the morning. No. Mm-mm.
No, we have literally gone until the sun came up. Like,
Right,
it's absolute. Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, we at work the next day exhausted, and I'm like, well, whose fault is that? Why didn't I stop talking? That's your fault.
we crazy. Yes, Lord. Okay, Kia. I know you better than us. You better than us.
Um, no, I'm the yeller, and I would say that we've definitely gotten better recently with the arguments, but I would say that my husband used to irritate me because he kind of reminded me of my dad. He would just sit there and not say anything, and I would just keep going and getting louder and getting louder and louder. And all of a sudden he'd be like, I'm done. And I'm like, stop talking to me like I'm your child. We not finished this conversation. Come back, finish the conversation with me. I'm not going to have this conversation with you. No, yes, you are. I just said I'm done. Whoop, I'm not your child. We're going to have this conversation type of thing. So he used to irk me and irritate me by being mute. And then all of a sudden tell me he's finished the conversation, and that's all he said. He didn't say nothing else about what I was talking about, what I was arguing about, what I was upset about. He did not validate my concerns, my issues, anything. He would just be mute. And that really got under my skin. And I took it from like past relationships that I had and that he had because we've known each other for so long. And I'm like, no, we need to communicate. We need to communicate. We can't go to bed mad. Can't go to bed mad. He was like, I'm just not talking to you. It's pointless. What am I going to say? What am I going to say? I'm like, look, you want to talk to me. We're going to talk this out. I'm not talking to you because this doesn't make sense. It's stupid. Yes, but it's not stupid to me. So if it's important to me, it needs to be important to you type of thing.
Right.
I think that was my problem and my issues when it came to, arguing and really trying to get through an issue. We definitely aren't great at it still. I try a little better with, presenting my argument or my complaint problem, with a lighter tone and asking him questions and feedback in between. He still doesn't always respond, but, now at least I get a little bit of an answer, at least an acknowledgement.
That he's hearing you. Yeah. I think just recently we've kind of got to the point where where Nicole is kind of where we're laughing and talking after an argument, where it's not that serious. But, I'm that person who I can go to bed mad because I'm tired, but I don't like to leave each other's presence mad. And I don't know, last time Adam traveled, not last time, but the time before that, everything was fine until the last day, and we got into a huge argument. And he was gonna get on the plane without saying anything. And I'm like, what if you die? What if I die? And he just and I'm like, wait, that to me is super, super important. And I just don't think I don't think he thinks that way, right? I don't think he thinks life is so short, anything could happen in a minute. Where I've kind of adopted that thought, okay, is this worth being mad more than a few minutes, more than an hour, definitely not more than a day? Is it that serious? And then honestly, I started to forget what we were arguing about because I have so much other stuff going on that it was just this isn't even really worth it, And so I think some of the things when we moved into our house, when we lived into an apartment with one bathroom, that was a very intense time for us. But when we moved into our house and we had two bathrooms, he had his own area, I had my own area, I think things kind of were a little bit better at times because some of those little petty arguments that you were arguing about, kind of went away. Do you guys see yourself acting like your parents sometimes? Behaving in a way that you're I would never behave that way, and then you look back and you're like, dang, I'm doing the same thing my mama and my daddy did. Kira.
Well, Sharon crazy. So, yes. Am I crazy too? Absolutely. As far as, just some of my behaviors in life, my mom is not the neatest person, and I'm not either. So I think, I think, I was so young when my parents split that I don't really remember how my mom interacted with my dad. But I can imagine that this is, something similar because I'm a slob, sort of. And Jeremy, my dad, is extremely neat, extremely organized. And, we bump heads over that. I feel like I'm compromising. I feel like I'm, I'm making the bed every day, and I'm like, what more do you want from me? Like, and then, I'm picking up after myself. Like when I look at our house sometimes, I'm like, oh, this joint's sparkling, and he's like, it's filthy in here, and I'm like, whoa, 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 like, I would eat off the floor, and he's like, it needs to be mopped. So, we're just bumping heads about the little things, and I can't imagine that my parents would have ever gotten along on, the cleanliness issue. As far as like me and my mom being messy and, Jeremy and my father being borderline OCD, I'm sure.
Yes. Nicole, do you think that you are acting in any way like your parents or the people who grew up around you? Uh-oh. You're breaking up.
I'm you. I'm the messy one.
Uh-huh.
I'm the one who takes shoes off day after day after day and leaves them by the door and never takes them to the closet, and he hates it. And he's not super, super neat, but he's way neater than I am. So he's the definite cleaner person out of the two of us, and that drives him crazy. But I find myself doing stuff like correcting him at times, and my mom does that all the time to my dad. If it's not grammatically correct, or I just find myself, I do it all the time, and then I stop and I'm like, damn, I just corrected him.
Yeah.
I'm spoiled too. My mom is like that as well, but I blame my father for that because he just spoiled both of us. Horrible. So that's what I expect here. And I act like a brat from time to time. And but I mean, it is what it is. We've been together 4 years. He know what he was getting into.
Go ahead, Kia.
I think so, but I think it's more so because my dad and my husband are really close, and sometimes we're together, and he's like, she acts just like her mother, because I have a really, really bad spending habit. I don't really go to the stores, but online, I know my card numbers off the top of my head. And so my husband really hates that, or I'll do something, and I'm like, how can I calculate this in my head to get what I need to get? And it reminds my dad so much of my mom. And, they're divorced now, and they're remarried, and he tells my husband that constantly. She like her mother. She like her mother. She half of her mother. She half of her mother. So, definitely in certain aspects. And I'm like, I'm like you too. And then actually my husband reminds me a lot of my dad as well, like with the mute tone, some of the ways that he responds to our child, some of the ways that, he responds financially with, spending and working and different things like that. So definitely.
Yeah. That's funny. I grew up around my dad mostly. And my dad is very loud. Like, I'm super loud. And he's a yeller. Like, just like louder and louder, like louder and louder. And you could be like, I hear you. And he still just like got to take it up a notch, up a notch, up a notch. And so when you start, to me, it kind of scared me when I started like seeing like how much I was turning out like him. And I was just like, girl, like, bring it back in, bring it back together. And so, I really tried to work on the yelling thing because it's like, it doesn't help when you're yelling and screaming and hollering. And it's just like nothing's getting across. And I noticed it a lot when the baby be like, you're yelling, you're so loud. And I was just like, but I'm just trying to get my point across, right? So I'm definitely feel like I'm trying to work on getting my point across without the volume and without being like belittling, because sometimes Adam will be like, well, why are you talking down to me? Like, especially like when I was like really in law school and like, you're just like, very articulate and very smart, and all of a sudden you just have, it's like, I want to be able to have that conversation that's, getting my point across without it being like loud. And so even when I sometimes say, you know what, let's take a step back, sometimes I feel like he doesn't want to take, because he wants to address it right now. But for me, like, the only way I can keep myself from getting loud is by stopping, like removing myself from the situation and then kind of coming back to kind of address it, because it's just too much to get all my emotions together so quickly. So that's I don't know. I just feel like I want to be like my parents and my family who I've seen grow up in a good way, and not in the negative way. And like when I try to point out to Adam, like, oh, you act like your dad, or you act like this, you act like that, he doesn't see it. He's like, oh no, I don't act like my dad. And I'm just like, but you do, like, and I don't think it's always a negative thing. Sometimes it's a good thing, but it's like, I feel like if you can recognize it, then it's easier to kind of deal with it and be better than your parents. Because your parents, of course, did the best they could, but you kind of also want to be in your marriage and be the best wife that you can be. So when it comes to, I don't know, like the whole bringing it all together. Like if you guys present it to your spouse, like, oh, I think we should go to counseling, or I think we should get help. Do you think that they would be like accepting of that idea? Because Carrie, did you guys go to marital counseling?
You said, did Jeremy and I go to marital counseling? No.
Oh, okay.
We didn't.
So do you think you'd be open to the idea of like getting some type of outside opinion or, therapy or support?
Would he be open to it? I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, like if a fight gets really bad, he's like, oh, we need some therapy, we need some help. And then we just don't follow up with it.
Yeah. Would you guys go? Did you guys go to marital counseling?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it was helpful in doing it before you guys got married?
Absolutely, because I think that I was actually surprised that my husband really opened up to our counselors. Our counselors they're a married couple, so that made the dynamic different than what I kind of expected. I expected it, to be one-on-one with either our bishop or just one of the elders in the church, instead of just a married couple. So I think that he'll be open to it. I mean, like now like I said, we have marriage mentors that we kind of talk to, that are friends about, different things that they went through, and, kind of looking at our situation from the outside in, when we're having some issues. So I think he's definitely open to that.
Yeah. Nicole, are you guys planning on going into premarital counseling?
I can't hear you, Ernice.
Uh-oh. Are you guys planning on going to premarital counseling?
I have no idea what you said. I can hear everybody else but you.
She said, are you guys thinking about going to premarital counseling?
Yeah, we are. We've actually already started looking at where we're going to go. We had a few suggestions from some folks that we know in the area, but we just haven't made a decision as to who we're going to go to yet. So, yes.
Yeah, so we didn't go to premarital counseling. The way our life was set up, there wasn't enough time for all of that. And so once I had the baby and life was hectic, did I tell y'all about our counseling experience? About that white woman?
A little bit.
Tell y'all.
Let me tell y'all what she did.
You know what I'm saying? So, I went, we were just really going through it. It was just like, we got married, bought a house, bought a house, got married, had the baby in like a 3-month span. Life was just completely hectic and out of control. And it was just a really tense time. So I was like, we need some help, because if not, like, I can't do, like, I'm trying to deal with my postpartum, body, life, emotions, and you just pushing me. So, he like, well, you find the person and I'll go. So I'm like, okay, just go through a little insurance. It ain't no pictures on there, so you don't know. I'm trying to decipher who, what race they are and this, that, and the other. So I'm like, that was just too much. So I'm like, let me just call a couple people, see who'll take us. So we found one person in Alexandria. So, he's like, you get 3 free sessions, and then after that you have to pay. So I'm like, okay, we'll go to these little 3 sessions and see what happens. So we get to the first one. I had to bring the baby because, the baby was like maybe 2 weeks, So we in this little small room with this lady. And so we're talking about our issues or whatever, and I'm just saying, what's going on. And he go putting on a show. Like, well, I love her, and, she does this, that, and the other. And I'm looking at him like, you wasn't even saying all that the other day. You was going up. And so he was like, she's just better at everything. She's better at washing dishes, washing clothes, folding clothes, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I just had a baby. I can't. Like, I just can't. And she just was like really listening intently to him and acting like I was crazy. So she told this man, the solution to our problem was do what you're better at. If I'm better at washing clothes, folding clothes, washing dishes, putting the dishes away. What is there left to do? Caring for the child. I was breastfeeding. Like, what else is there for him to do? I cannot get. She was like, I mean, he grew up really spoiled, and girl, I was in that thing like, get my purse, get my bag, I gotta go. We left that place. He was like, I mean, I told you I was right all along. I said, that white woman was scared of you. Excuse my excuse me for using the word white. But it just really upset me because I'm like, I came to you for a unbiased opinion about my marriage. And you're in here telling me that after having a baby 2 weeks ago, that this man, I should be doing all of the household chores? Like, are you crazy? So every time we have an argument, he's like, well, the counselor said I was right. And then it'd be like, I had no leverage. And it was like, I had no time to find another person. So it's like, I tried to find a black person because I was like, a black person's not going to make me feel this way. And, he just like, every argument we had, well, the counselor said, but he didn't even really want to go to counselor. But now all of a sudden we get there, he got all this leverage based on what this woman said. And it just really upset me because I'm like, I've never been to a place where someone can give you that type of opinion about your life. I'm like, how are you helping me? Are you not a woman? Do you not feel my pain? Like, so that was our little counseling experience. We haven't been back since. We need to. I mean, I think we definitely individually and, collectively we need to go back. But that experience was so traumatic for me because I had had such great experiences when I was at Howard with the counseling department. They were amazing. Yes, girl, I went in there. I had to fill out the little form. My friend convinced me to go because I was a mess. I went there, I filled out the little form, and the lady was like, so they were just all rushed. I don't know what, just always something going on at Howard where there's just so much going on. So she just like looking at the paper like, you ain't got no mama, you ain't got no daddy. Okay. So she was like, what is you doing? What's going on with your mom? And I was just like, she was like, yep, you need counseling. Let's sign you up. Okay. So that was like my first experience, like, and it was amazing. Like, I am still friends with my counselor today. I see her in the street, like, and to be like, hey girl, you saved my life, like that kind of thing.
Wait, is that somebody's daughter? You met their daughter?
Yeah, I met their daughter. Is my sorority sister from my Kai the Phi girl. Yes, girl.
That is so funny.
Crazy. But yeah, I was like, so when I had such a great experience, I was just convinced that black people could feel my pain. Like, because there was no way that this woman could look at me and not feel my pain. I couldn't go to another one. I couldn't go to another Caucasian. I'm sorry, I can't.
So Jeremy and I have gotten to the point where, I like assigned him, like, go find us a counselor. And, so he's sending me all these people. And from your experience, he sent some people of the other persuasion, and I was like, nope.
She ain't gonna play me.
He told them, I was like, you're not gonna play me validating this big black man. No.
I told him that. I was like, that woman was scared of you. The space was too small. You big as you can be, and taking up all the space. If she would have said the wrong thing, you would have lashed out. He was like, what? I'm like, heads be it. Because I ain't never seen nobody like this. And she left.
You had her shook.
He shook. And it was just crazy. I mean, oh, that was an experience. Y'all just don't know what I've been through, okay? So, the last topic of the night is, how do you process things, and do you talk to your friends or your family? I think for me, I definitely do reach out to my friends a lot. But there's one of my friend Nicole, the friend I know Nicole through Shania. When I reach out to her and I tell her like my crazy, she starts laughing, and it always brings me back to reality. Like, this is funny to somebody. Like, this is not even real life to someone, because I sound crazy right now. Like, every time, I don't think I've ever called her and she's ever been mad with me. Like, she's never been like, girl, we gotta get him. Like, she's never that. She's like, girl,
that's me.
Right. Kira be like, girl, get the keys to my house. We rolling out what you need. Shania, she's the opposite. She just be like, girl, y'all are so crazy. Girl, y'all are so in love. And I'm like, what? this is not love. This cannot be love, right? So she was one of the ones, sometimes when things got like really, really hectic, I would call her first to kind of bring me down. Then I would go to the Kira and the other ones who
help me pack my stuff.
Let me pack my stuff. Go move out, have my whole situation all messed up, trying to figure out how to pay somebody rent. I ain't got no money. I ain't had no job.
I had 2 jobs.
So I think it's like you need that balance, right? You need your friends who gonna ride or die, but you also need your friends who are gonna bring you back to reality. Like, girl, you sound crazy. It's just a fad. It's just that Zen person who's just not all hype with you and ready just to gunshot, shotta in here. Like, we don't need any of that sometimes. So I think I talk to my family a little bit, not really, not because they don't give good advice, but sometimes it's like your family be like your friends, like ready to ride with you. Like, he did what? Oh, he's not my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't talk to them. And you just don't want your family to hate, your loved one, your spouse, right? So I told my grandmother some things, but some of the stuff I would, in the beginning I was calling her like, girl, what I'ma do, girl? And she'd be like, girl, stick it out. And then once she told me to call the police, I was like, girl, I can't talk to you. Call the police? You crazy. Like,
but
that's
that
what
man in his life.
Right. That's when I knew she wasn't the one. Like, I can't talk to grandma. Call the police. I'm in law school. I said, call the police on her. I was like, it ain't that bad, girl. That kind of brought me back to reality. Was like, okay, who I should talk to, who I should not talk to, because you do sometimes you do need to talk to someone. Honestly, like anybody who sits there, like I know some people are super private and they never talk about their personal life, but that ain't me. I'm clearly very open, very honest. But I definitely feel like you should have that kind of balance of like ride 'em, shoot 'em up chicks, and also some who aren't. So Kira, do you have that good balance?
I think kind of mimicking what you said. I don't really talk to my family too much because I don't want them to judge Jeremy, and I feel like if there's some things where I tell my mom and she'd be like, oh, that's it, coming to get you, and I'm like, wait, no, like I want to stay, and now all of a sudden I'm looking stupid, so I'm like, okay. So, but then I have my girlfriends, and it's funny that you say that Shanye's that person for you, because I feel like, now that, I've been married probably about half the time that you have, so I feel like you're that person for me. Sometimes when I tell you things, you're like, leave my brother-in-law alone. I'm like, he's crazy. Like, so it's like you will play a different role for different people, in their marriage walk, to the newlywed, you're the sage old wise woman who knows, like, when to let things go. And, when I was the single friend, I was like, Rob, what'd he do? Like, pack up my child, like, we leaving. So I'm imagining that one day, I will be that sage old wise married woman, because right now I am not. And I am like, I do bounce things off my coworkers sometimes because they don't know Jeremy personally. So it's like, I'm essentially telling like a damn near stranger my business, but it's like, what do they care for? They don't, they don't know him. They can't judge him. Mm-hmm. And then my friends, I do share some things, but again, you never really want to tell people too much because it's embarrassing. Whitney, the other woman who also joins us sometimes for Marriage Matters, she and I were laughing about this one time. Her husband asked her, like, oh, you be telling our business. She was like, hell no, because half the time I'm too embarrassed to even say anything. And that's the truth. Like,
yeah, she be like, I ain't telling nobody that shit.
Right, like, and that's the thing. Like, half the time I'm so embarrassed by, some of the things you've said to me or some of the things you've done that I wouldn't want anybody to know. Like, so I do need to get over that, and when I do need to speak up and seek a second opinion, because a lot of times my question is, am I crazy? Like, that's my main, I lead with that. Like, y'all, tell me if I'm crazy, because, and I think
no, listen. We be like, yeah, you crazy. You be like, no, wait, hold on, there's more.
Nope. I'm always in my right mind. So, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I think I'm probably divulge more than Jeremy. Like, I know he's a very private person. He doesn't really tell
their friends, believe that, but they will take your advice. Did y'all listen to my little commercial?
Mm-hmm.
They'll take your advice, and you'll hear them whispering it to their little married, newlywed friends. Believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you worry. They listening.
Yeah. But that's what I do. Those are my outlets right now. I probably should get some better ones, but right now it's like whoever want to hear it.
We the best.
No, I'm talking about like a stranger.
My coworkers. Go ahead, Kia. How do you share?
I think I do relatively the same thing. I don't tell family as much or too much because I don't want them to think, ill of my husband or something's wrong with him or he's trying to, kill me in the house or anything like that. I do have a couple of people that I would say that I kind of find as confidants, like I really value their opinions and what they have to say. And then I have, those friends who I call them anyway after I call my confidant just because my confidant has probably told me that I was wrong. So I need somebody to tell me that I was right so I can feel better about myself inside. And just tell me, no, girl, leave the house, go do this, go do that, and then walk out there. I have a friend, she goes, Kia, go get dressed up, face full of makeup, leave the house for about an hour, don't answer your phone if he call you, then come back. I bet you act right. I said, Lord, you're going to get me in trouble. That's why you're not married now. So,
You are rude.
I'm just saying. So no, I definitely listen to my like I said, my one of my two confidants. I listen to them because one's been married for a long time, and I feel like she would never truly steer me wrong in the advice that she's giving me, and she's definitely going to tell me when I'm wrong, and she's definitely going to tell me when I'm right. But if she tells me I'm wrong, like I said, I'm gonna call my backup who always tells me that I'm right, just to make me feel better before I get my act right together.
That is so funny. This today was hilarious. It definitely started off off the chain. Off the chain. We crazy, that. But I think the biggest thing about being married and having these conversations, it just helps us to. It helps us all realize that we have a lot in common. And that it's a work in progress, right? Like the first year is not going to be as hard. It may not be as hard. But it may not be as hard as the second or the third year. So I think the best thing for us to do is kind of just keep working with it, right? And I think we touched on that topic in the first session about like not throwing out the divorce word, and kind of just letting it play itself out. Because if it's just, I think the things that we argue about and that we're fighting over are just so small and just so simple, it's not really worth us all just saying this isn't worth it, right? I think that was my defense mechanism for things like if I'm wrong, then I don't need to be here because I'm wrong, right? But I think as time progresses and as we fall deeper in love, maybe if that's the way it is, then we begin to learn each other in a different way where our needs and our wants aren't something that are so outlandish or so crazy or so, something worth arguing over. It becomes like, okay, that's what you want, then that's cool, and I feel like I'm learning so much from these conversations about myself because when you hear yourself talk about how crazy you are, you realize, like, I am crazy. Like, this don't make no sense. So, it's definitely a lot of work that we have to do to become good wives and to remain good wives, and that's important. And before we ended our session, I don't know what happened to Nicole. She always somehow, her phone always ends up dying. That's what happens because she'll text me later. I wanted to post to the group, but it's only a couple of us. I'm also sent out an email if we wanted to have a July session as a couple session with the guy. I mean, it doesn't have to.
But would you like to have a couple session? You want to do a couple session in July? You say, yeah, sure.
Oh, because, I feel like we talk about them a lot, and they probably have their own opinions, like, that ain't true. That ain't what I said, And I can just imagine what the chemistry is going to be like with Jeremy. Looking at Kira like, this chick is... I know it's going to be interesting. So I'm definitely going to post it to the entire...
Jeremy said no.
Why? Why?
He said it's recorded for public consumption. I want no parts.
I didn't tell my husband it was recorded.
The wife your business out. We don't even talk about anything intense. We don't have to go deep. Tell him to think about it, pray about it, sleep on it.
I will.
Work on it. Work on it. Work on it. So I posed it to the whole group. We'll see. I mean, it's not anything set in stone, but my boss was like, I mean, why don't you have men on? I'm like, because this isn't really about you guys. We hear from y'all every day. We want to hear from the
Right. As soon as you said that, I was like, can I have something that's me? Like,
But it's just a thought. We could think about it. We'll see. So it'll be a surprise if the men are on next month for July. We'll definitely let everyone know who watches. Thank you so much for joining us for Marriage Matters. I love you guys. You guys are awesome for coming in
love you
and sharing your
too.
stories. It's definitely been fun and interesting these past few sessions. So this is the end, and we'll definitely try to see you guys next month, and we'll set a date soon.
All
Bye.
right, signing off.